From beautiful Ashland, Oregon, I am Pleiadian Emissary of Light, Caroline Ra. Thank you all for joining me today. Welcome to Spirit of the Dawn. Today we have the pleasure of visiting with internationally recognized mindfulness and meditation expert, Lee Papa. Lee will share with us how she shifted her own life from chaos, drama, exhaustion, illness, control, and lack of fulfillment to health, joy, abundance, and a passion for life that she deliberately created. Using these same concepts, tools, and processes, Lee has taught tens of thousands of individuals how to shift their lives and create the best expression of themselves. Lee is the author of The Temple of All Knowing, which chronicles her near-death experience and awakening process. We'll be learning all about her latest offering as Lee has brought her 5-day Mindful Makeovers Program into a concise and very thorough transformational online program. Lee Papa glows with joy and love. She brings positivity and wisdom to all that she does. I am delighted to welcome to Spirit of the Dawn, Lee Papa. Lee, thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you, Carolyn.
It is such a delight. Oh, wow. Lee, can you give us an idea of what your world looked like before you developed mindfulness and meditation practices? What was going on in your world then?
Oh, do we want to go there? It's not so pretty.
We want to go there a little bit. It's just an idea.
Sure, I'm just teasing you. Absolutely. No, it's it was a world that was full of chaos, was full of drama and trauma, and I'll paint the picture a little bit for you. I was married at the time and had just newly moved to Las Vegas from LA, and a young child, just a couple years old, and there were some challenges in that arena as well. It took us years to conceive. And then my elderly mother was living with us. We had moved her from the East Coast to Las Vegas, and that's really what was the motivator to come to Las Vegas, is that she had fallen and broken her hip, and she had been lying on the floor for 45 minutes trying to crawl to the phone. And so it was a decision that it was time for her to get some more hands-on care. And it was, quite an undertaking for my family and especially everyone back east, preparing her for that move and then moving to Vegas. And so I seem to had the ability to, although my intentions were good, that things just didn't seem to work out the way that I had planned. My mom and I had an amazing relationship. We were, two peas in a pod, attached at the hip. My sister had said to me years and years ago, you don't really know, like, mom seems to change when you're there, and she's a different person with you than she is with me or my other sister, and that kind of thing. And I just thought that was, I didn't understand that. And but I had lived on the West Coast, and I would kind of come in for this whirlwind, wonderful experience of being with family for a week or 2 weeks, and then I would be gone. So, the day-to-day living, I wasn't there for over 20 years, I would say. And so there was that relationship with my mother that, I think that we all can relate in some form, that there's a relationship that you come into this world with, and it brings its challenges sometimes, but it's also such yumminess when you move through it and you understand what that lesson was. So there was the relationship with my mom. There was the relationship with my then husband. He just not on the same page. There was love, and we came together in both of our opinions now after the fact to have this extraordinary child, which we did. And but there was a lot of rub in our relationship. I'm kind of doing this, although I don't think you can see me. Um, and so I was trying to make my world fit. My mom has since transitioned, but she used to say to me from early on that I tried to shove a square peg in a round hole, right? You've heard that expression. And I've also been told that I would need to run into a brick wall for me to get what I needed to learn. Why can't you just hear it and understand and not run into that brick wall? Well, I was somebody that just needed to have the experience. And so my world surrounded around these relationships, and always looking outside myself for something, anything, to make me happy. And I was ill all the time. Anything that came down the pike, I got. And it could have been, I had been diagnosed early on with lupus. I had, anything that would come in that was a cold or a flu or whatever, I just knew I was going to get it. And as we know, because I knew I was going to get it, I got it. So just a lot of chaos, a lot of feelings of lack, and that stemmed from my feelings of lack within myself. I wasn't full. And so I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and so I was always externally looking for some kind of peace and well-being that doesn't reside externally. So that's a bit in a nutshell.
Thank you for sharing all that. It's interesting. When I read your book, The Temple of All Knowing, I so related to your story, though my situation was different. That lack of belief in myself completely, and understanding myself and having that healthy relationship with myself was very similar in my life. You had a near-death experience that was quite profound and unusual. Could you describe some of it to us?
I love that you say it was unusual. I have not done any kind of studying on near-death experiences because I didn't want it to bleed into my experience. And so when it occurred, I really wasn't sure what the heck it was. So this was in 2008. And once again, I was ill. I had an upper respiratory infection or something to that extent. And my husband had wanted to go on a Vipassana or Vipassana, I know that it's pronounced different ways, retreat, which is noble silence. And so he was going towards your way, I believe, for this 10-day noble silence retreat. And what that meant was he was going to drive there. As soon as he walked in the doors, there was no communication, not phone, not texting, no technology. That was it. He was done. To give you a little backstory, as soon as we moved here, he was in a major car accident that completely changed who he was. And so we were battling that as well. And so fully supportive for him to go however he needed to find his way. And so he went. Our son was 3 years old, and my mom was living with me. And so the beauty of having someone living with you is that they're always there. And the curse of that is that they're always there, right? It's like wherever I could find peace, I was going to the bathroom, hiding in a closet, whatever, just to not hear my name being called. But at this point in time, I found it interesting that my mom was nowhere to be found. And my husband had said his goodbyes, and he moved into his noble silence. And I promised him that I was going to go to the doctor to get some antibiotics for this. He was a little worried about me not being well while he was gone. And so I did that the day he left. I went to the doctor's. I got these antibiotics, which at that point I was already moving away from that, but felt like this was, pretty bad. I needed to take care of it in the short term. So got the antibiotics, did not rest. I somehow felt that now that my husband was away, there were things I needed to do in the house. I wanted to make some changes. I wanted to decorate this. I wanted to get things done. And so I didn't honor that my body was shutting down. And so by, I believe, the second or third day, I was really down, and I was in bed, and I had called my doctor saying that these antibiotics weren't working. And before I could actually get new antibiotics, I was at a stage that I couldn't even get up. I felt my body staying and my spirit lifting. And what was running through my head very distinctively was I was trying to call my mom, and only a whisper was coming out. I didn't know where she was. My son was running around the house. I had no idea where he was. I could not get up. And if something happened to me, my mother would not know how to get in touch with my husband. And so all of this was playing a role. But what was not playing a role was fear. It was like what you do when you pack to prepare for a trip. My mental state was, oh, this is happening. I feel what this is happening, and I need to prepare so that I can go. And I found the strength somehow to grab the phone and call my girlfriend who lived down the street, who happens to be my son's godmother and my oldest, dearest friend. And she came over and she picked up my son, and I have no idea how much time lapsed during that, but I went out of my body. I went to the light, and it was extraordinary. It was life-changing. It was beyond what our limited words can explain. When I wrote the book, The Temple of All Knowing, it was a real challenge to be able to extract words that would even hint at the extraordinary experience that this was. And I was a vibrational being. I had no physical body form. It was the most freeing, profound thing that has ever been a part of my physical incarnation. And I was ready. It was like, take me on the light tray home. I was really ready. And this bliss, this extraordinary feeling of bliss that is on that other side. And what I've come to learn is that this was kind of like the train platform. I'm using the analogy of the train. But this was kind of the tweener place. This was before you actually go to the other side. It was a holding place in the light. And I noticed up ahead that I was being greeted by two light beings, and they morphed in and out of form. So I can see them in my mind's eye now. They would, one was a little taller than the other, one was very distinctively male energy, one was very distinctively female energy, and they would morph into the outline of a human form, and then as one unit, as one whole ball of light. And so it kind of kept changing until they were right in front of me and telepathically communicating with me that this is, kind of a welcome. This is where we are, and it's not your time, basically. And I'm like, oh no. I'm staying. And so one of the really amazing pieces of wisdom that I gleaned from that experience is that the old me prior to the near-death experience was all about attachment. The other side, there is absolutely no attachment. The love quotient grows enormously, and our attachment goes to zip. Whereas we've got things quite a bit backwards here, right? So it's about, what can I achieve? What can I accomplish? What can I own? What can I have? What's mine, to try to feed us. But when we realize that the extraordinary love that is ours, when we let that grow, we don't need the stuff. We don't need the attachment. There is no, oh, they're going to get remarried, or, oh, any kind of jealousy or attachments of any kind. They're gone. So that was what happened, is that here, and anyone that has a child, or even a fuzzy child, a furry child, you know, knows that on this plane we have attachment. We don't want anything to happen to our dog or our cat or our child or our partner. We love and are attached to them. But on the other side, the love that I felt for my family and my child was just beyond words. And yet I was like, let's go. It's okay. He'll be fine. So do you want me to detail what happened at that point?
Well, it seems you did come back into your body.
Yeah.
You had work to do. It wasn't your time.
Well, and what happened was it was twofold. So I was given not really a life review, but more of a relationship review, where the individual that I had a relationship with, that energy would enter me. I would feel the extraordinary love and the wisdom and knowledge that I gleaned from that relationship. And then as that one passed, a new one would come. And they left my son to last. And the love was very different. It was softer. It was purer, and it was so, so yummy. And yet after that feeling passed, I said, it was great. I was able to have this child. I was gifted this extraordinary experience to love as only a mother can love, and to birth this child. And then afterwards I was like, okay, let's go. And they said, that we have free will on the other side as well. And so it was purely my choice to come or go. But my work was not done, and it revolved a lot around my son. His name means bringer of light, and that he had lost a mother early on in previous lifetimes. And at such a young age, his work would not be able to be done if he had been hit with this trauma at such a young age. And so they said that they wanted, see, it even triggers now. I can feel the emotion welling up. They wanted me to feel what he would feel at the loss of his mother.
Wow.
And I describe it in the book as shards of glass ripping through your soul. And, that'll do it. That'll make you say, yeah, okay, I'll go back. It's so the reason was twofold, for predominantly, mostly for my son and what his role in this world will be. And secondly, that my work was not done to raise the light quotient in this world that needs it so desperately.
Well, thank you for coming back and staying here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Lee, you glow. You absolutely glow, and you share your glowing with everyone you meet with. When you speak in front of large groups, when you are in a one-on-one situation, you always glow. And I'd like to know something about your personal processes that you infused your own life with, that were changing for you, that you now use with your clients, with businesses that you consult with. What do you do? What did you change? What did you evolve in your life?
Good question. Thank you. First of all, thank you for the compliment about the glowing. That's probably the best compliment ever that I could receive. So thank you. It wasn't always so. I was never really comfortable in my own skin, and others would perceive that as being standoffish sometimes. And it was really a protection mechanism that, to be seen, right? And to be transparent. And so when I teach, I talk about that we are all here on this planet having a process of healing. We're always in a process of healing and expansion. And so my process of healing and expansion is the same. Everyone is on the same. And so I think that when people talk about enlightenment, and when you've reached enlightenment, that in my perspective, then you don't need to, be here anymore, and you certainly don't need to come back, right? So my goal, my personal goal is to, in every day, every mundane task, that I extract whatever wisdom and knowledge that I can glean from that experience to heal and to expand. And to know that whatever happens in my world, it is always a direct reflection of me. And that goes with everyone. And so when I developed my program, let me back up a little bit. After the near-death experience, I came back with this residual, this residue on me. It's I hear a beeping.
It's Tuesday garbage pickup day.
That's great. So let me talk about that. Part of that healing is to take the garbage out, right? To take the garbage out,
perfect.
the lower energy of your field, because we're always in that process. I've used the analogy of the onion, the peeling off the layers of the onion, and in between each layer, it is stuck energy from this lifetime, past traumas and dramas from previous, how you came in, and how you look at that and how you actively release those energies and taking out the garbage is how you move forward in your healing and expansion. So we're vibrational beings, and as vibrational beings, there's the law of attraction. So what is attracted to us is going to be a vibrational match for what's going on. And I like food analogy. So we are these vibrational beings in a colander. My visual is those yellow Tupperware colanders, right? And you're a vibrational being in this colander, and what is going on your world is what is the direct attraction for the law of attraction, the direct match for your energy. When you start moving up the vibrational scale, when you start moving to increase your vibration, and no matter what platform you use, an energy healing, meditation, prayer, changing the way that you eat, just actively, deliberately honoring your body vessel, whatever it is that you start moving up the vibrational scale, what no longer matches this vibration is going to fall out the holes. And this is the process of healing. Now, what happens though is a lot of times people want that and they start moving up the vibrational scale, and what no longer serves them is falling out the holes, but then they have attachment. So they have attachment to maybe people or habits or circumstances, and then they go, oh, I don't want to let go of that partner. I don't want to let go of that job. I don't want to let go of that because I'm afraid of change. And so then they bounce back down into this lower frequency. And I do have to say that a higher frequency and a lower frequency, there's no judgment about what's better. It just is. But I want to make sure that listeners understand that.
It's a very important point.
It is an important point, because people the ego comes in and they start saying, oh, well, I'm at a higher vibration and they're at a lower vibration, I'm better than them. The antithesis of mindfulness. But anyway, so that's the process of how we navigate the healing. And to get back to the original question is, I look at my own life. You know how they say, teacher, heal thyself, or healer, heal thyself, or, I never wanted to be in a place, to be quite honest, where I spoke to groups as a person that came from not being comfortable in their own skin. I could meet with people one-on-one, and that was comfortable. And then it became that I needed to talk to larger groups and larger groups and larger groups. Now it's kind of second nature for me to do it. And I love it, because I know that this information that I have to share is, number one, my life's purpose. Secondly, it will change people's lives. And that would be kind of a selfish thing for me to do, is to keep that information to myself. So my own practice is to do my own work. And that is part of, actually, the entire program that is Mindful Makeovers is my entire practice. And there are core concepts in it. It's an acronym, Learn and Be. And some of these core concepts are very humble, and they're not going to be new to most people, but they're not, maybe there's a little twist into how you think about that core concept. And then beyond that are 3 tools that you implement immediately, and within 24 hours, the majority of people feel a difference, have in some significant difference. And then the proprietary processes, which really tickle me because they came through for me, a couple of them specifically, during meditation, that I always get jazzed when I am given inspired thought and information that I test everything. And so I test it on myself, and I'm constantly testing and utilizing also with my client base over, many, many years and thousands of people. And I see that they work so significantly. So I do my own practice, I do my own work, and I really never want to not do that. So,
Lee, you recommended that I do your water chakra wash meditation.
Waterfall.
What is it called?
Waterfall chakra wash.
Waterfall chakra wash. Okay. I had an amazing experience, but it all happened the next day, the day after.
She cleared, yeah.
Wow. I hadn't felt that good in years.
Oh.
It was scary, amazing how different I felt. And I said, what happened yesterday? I did the meditation. Yeah. And I know that was what it was. And I cannot wait to do it again and make it a regular part of my practice. It's amazing. Now, that can be found at Insight Timer app. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can also find it on my website, just leepapa.com and LEEPAPA, and there's a meditation tab, and you click on that meditation tab, and that'll take you down where you can access that particular meditation. It really is a gift to the universe. I can't take full credit for that. I can take the credit for actually being the one that speaks it, but it is highly infused with healing, and it's so gentle and beautiful. I like the whole idea of multitasking. So if I'm going to do a meditation, I want it to be power packed. I want it to be short. I want to get a lot out of it. I want healing as well, and that's the bomb. It really is. And that whole CD is available also on my website as a download. And what I did is the Waterfall Chakra Wash is just, and this is why that one and a couple of others I give. And it's on Insight Timer, which is an amazing app. I don't get any, residual of anything on that. I just think that everybody should be on that app. It is, to me, the leading edge in meditation apps. I think it's fantastic. And there are thousands of instructors on that. I feel very honored that they asked me to be a part of that. I also started a group the other day just for Lee Papa and Mindful Makeovers. But that particular meditation is 6 minutes long. And when I teach meditation, I talk about, when I first started stepping into meditation, I was still with the monkey mind, still type A, prior to near-death experience. And the idea of having to sit for 30 minutes in silence in the morning and in the afternoon was just not going to happen. That was just so far from where I could, in my mind, feel like I could get, that I felt defeated. So I love that this is short. It's 6 minutes. It's guided, so people that are new to meditation have a place for their mind to go to without the chatter. So when you focus on someone's voice or a journey or sound, it takes you out of yourself, basically. And what I also love about that meditation is that it layers on itself. So in other words, as you add that to your morning practice, and I really recommend it in the morning, you start your day with that 6 minutes, and you can add more quiet time after that if you have that time to invest, which I highly recommend. But you'll clear and clear and clear and clear and clear. My focus is to empower the individual to find that healing that they need within themselves, to give them the tools, the concepts, the processes that they can do it all themselves. And then they can teach their friends and their loved ones how to, heal and expand themselves.
That is amazing. We're having a great time today talking with mindfulness and meditation expert Lee Papa. Her website is leepapa.com, leepapa.com. And I want to start talking about your new online program. But first, it's the big question. What is mindfulness?
Yeah. I love that question because it's so easy. Mindfulness equals awareness. And that's it in its simplest form. To go a little deeper is awareness of what's going on around you and internally, your thoughts, your actions, your mind chatter, here's the trick, with no judgment. So no judgment of whether it's good or bad, just being aware. So what ends up happening is when you move through a mindfulness program, when you really embrace mindfulness in your life, everything becomes the process. I remember years ago when I had my center, someone asked me, how often do you meditate? And a lot of times people, I have no problems with prayer versus meditation. I think, they can be interchangeable. I have a friend who talks about prayer, and I said, I live my life in a constant state of prayer. I live my life in a constant state of meditation. Now, do I extract time out in the day to do the official meditation? Absolutely. But the process in embracing mindfulness is easy. You just have to do it. And I think that I love the idea that mindfulness has become so embraced in the media. Makes my job a lot easier because people are understanding what it is. But a lot of times people think mindfulness is meditation, and meditation is a part of mindfulness, but mindfulness is really much more than that. And Mindful Makeovers is like mindfulness on steroids. Because I integrate a lot more into it.
Now, you've been working with clients one-on-one in your Mindful Makeovers program for years now, and you've put it into this online program. It's a huge task. I develop online courses also. That is a huge task. It's much harder than it seems.
Yes.
How did you do that? How did you take all of that and put it into a program? Because it's a hard thing to do.
Well, I joke about the book, The Temple of All Knowing, being a labor of love. It was like, from having a child and laboring for 33 hours, writing this, it took 4 years for me to get that to the point of being able to publish it. That was excruciating, but, loving every bit of it as well. Then moving into the program, and Mindful Makeovers is actually a new term or name brand that I'm using for all the information that I've packaged working with private clients for all these years and teaching. So I just took the best of everything that I've learned and integrated it into a very manageable and accessible program. Again, going back to the Waterfall Chakra Wash and being 6 minutes and being power packed, the program is built so that you can invest 15 to 30 minutes a day and it be profound. And so it's not hours and hours and hours of watching video because, first of all, I wouldn't do that. And I want people to have access to the information so that they can implement it into their life. And I'm like, I would invest 6 minutes a day. I would invest 15 minutes a day. I would, so if I would do it and I can see the results, I know anybody can do it. So I did very short video teachings, and they are on average 10 to 15 minutes. That is the introductory session. And then there is a manual, and the manual is 108 pages. And there's an additional information on each session, as well as a worksheet. And in that program, there are 26 sessions, and there are additional kind of little clips, rah-rah cheerleader clips to keep you going, a total of 44, and all together. And I just am extremely proud of this program. And what tickles me the most is when people use the online program and they're getting the same results as those who I have worked with one-on-one. Now, some people want more hand-holding, and so you can always access me with, consulting, doing that kind of work on Skype and or FaceTime or telephone. We can do that. But it really, again, going back to wanting to empower people, it's all there. You just have to do it, right? You just have to implement them and utilize the tools and the processes. And you've seen it yourself with 1 6-minute meditation, how you can have a shift.
Oh, I'm definitely diving in. I'm diving into the world of Lee Papa and my own personal mindfulness. It's just come just at the right time for me. I love it.
It always does, which, is great. I hear it time and time again, like, I can't believe it. Or people will call and say, you're not going to believe it. And I believe it. I believe it all, because it's we live in a really magical world. And when you navigate mindfully, you see that magic every day.
Lee, I believe one of your more popular phrases is cancel, clear. Okay, so
I've been the t-shirt.
I've been doing cancel, clear, while I'm walking the dog, feeding the chickens. I'm cancel, clear. Wow, and it really is making me aware of all these thoughts I don't really want to necessarily put energy into. Tell us, share cancel, clear.
Well, it's actually one of the tools. It's the number one tool in the program.
Oh, no, then we shouldn't talk about it.
No, I'm happy to. I love it. No, there's so much in the program, and it's something that you're going to go over and utilize over and over and over again. This is a lifelong program. It's not something, you do once, you'll constantly come back to it. No, it's a beautiful thing to share, and I'm happy to do it. Cancel, clear. We have 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Some, scientists say, even up to 90. That's for the real monkey mind. I think I was up to 90 at one point. So how many of those thoughts do you think that we're actually choosing, number one? And I would bet that the majority of them are on autopilot. Things that we have learned, things that we have said to ourselves, mostly not optimal, right? And so when we become conscious of our dialogue, our internal dialogue, and what we're really saying to ourselves, that's how we can change it. When it's on autopilot and it's just running that program in the background, you're not aware. It just comes out, and then it's just being reinforced over and over and over again. But when you use cancel, clear, and literally state cancel, clear, and first of all, I really believe everything should be fun, because if the program's not fun, you're not going to do it. And for myself, it needed to be fun to keep me interested, and to, I'd like to have fun, right? I want to laugh and be blissful every day, even when I'm healing and expanding, of course. So it becomes a fun little thing that you can do with your family, with your friends, with your office. And, I will say, don't cancel, clear other people. What cancel, clear is. I cancel, clear in my head all the time. So if I am talking to somebody and there's a lot of negativity being spewed, I'm cancel, clearing in my head. The next part after cancel, clear is, so let's just use you as an example. What might be some phrases that are less than optimal that you say to yourself?
Oh gosh. Wow.
And some people, I'll give you some hints.
I can't I
Yeah, I
can't
put
think
you
of
on the
any I
spot.
can share.
Oh, right. There you go. We'll put you on the spot.
Um,
Well, when I'm speaking to an audience in the corporate world, a lot of times I'll start you out with, this client is going to drive me crazy, right? Or people say that about their children, right? And so we would cancel clear that, and we would say, this client is, with I moved through this situation with this client with ease and grace. So you state something that is an affirmative that counteracts that limiting belief or that less than optimal thought. And what happens is, and it's best to really give yourself 2 or 3 go-to affirmative statements, so that until you get comfortable with it and on the fly to be able to change what it is that that less than optimal statement was, that you can use something that is just kind of a global affirmative statement. I love the term ease and grace, so I want everything to come with ease and grace, so I add that to the end of everything. But so cancel clear is really the tool to get you connected with what you're creating, because with your words, with your thoughts, you're creating your reality. And that is part of the concepts as well. So you learn more about what that really means in the core concepts. But I love Cancel Clear, and we did actually start t-shirts. I have to get them up on the website. I love
Right.
them.
I love it. Neither of us are doctors, but when we do raise our vibration, have loving, mindful thoughts, and are in a beautiful place in our lives, our physical well-being really does shift dramatically. And I don't think people even realize the connection so much between how they're feeling physically and all the other aspects of their being. Can you
Subject.
comment on that?
Oh yeah, great subject. I became acutely aware of that very thing. As I had stated prior, I used to be sick all the time, and a lot of upper respiratory infections every year. Absolutely had that lower abdominal issues, and if I would have had Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, way back then, I would have had more of an aha moment then, but needed to navigate it, at my own pace. And I guess also through the near-death experience, I learned so much. But as I worked on everything from a place of my spiritual healing and expansion, my health started to increase and increase and increase, and those residual nasty little things that I would get were never a vibrational match for me anymore. So my medicine cabinets were full of every kind of medicine you can imagine for everything. I mean, it was like my bathroom was a CVS. And years and years and years ago, that all got, moved away. I only work with essential oils for myself and my family. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a place when you need it, but a lot of times you just don't, you need it. You keep yourself in a place of a high vibration, and you work with energy healing and acupuncture, and I found that energy healing, like Reiki, and there are so many different kind of modalities out there, but it's very important that you find the right practitioner. Reiki is a beautiful energy, and also becoming Reiki 1, which is about working on healing yourself. I recommend that for everybody. And when I became Reiki, I realized that when you can activate that within yourself, there is an empowering feeling, and when you can actually feel the energy in your hand, it's that aha moment. And when you're raising your frequency and being able to work on your own healing and well-being, it is very empowering. So rarely do I get kind of anything. I listen to my body, If I don't listen to my body, and if old patterning creeps in and I'm not resting or I'm not eating the way that I should be, uh, we still have free will. And if that big piece of chocolate cake and eating things that I know don't are not at the highest benefit for me, if I'm going to eat breads and things that and cheeses, things that are I know for myself are not in alignment, then I'm going to get the residual effect from that. I'm going to not feel well, or I'm going to feel sluggish, or if I don't listen to my body and I don't rest, if I don't get the amount of rest that I need, or if I call it falling off the slipstream. If for some reason busyness has taken over in my life and I've moved away from taking my supplements or resting or meditation, um, I see it almost immediately in my life. And so it's the universe's way of saying, get back on the slipstream. I hope that answered that, because
Oh,
I
beautifully,
will go on
beautifully.
and on.
Lee, I was wondering, do you do yoga at all?
I don't.
You don't?
And I
Okay.
love that question, because um, many people assume that I do. And I've had many people assume that I'm a vegetarian as well, and I'm not. And I have I think everyone individually should navigate their experience from their own inner knowing, from their own temple of all knowing. And for me, that has just not been my path. I've taken some yoga classes, and it's just not been something that I have embraced in my own life. But I know many yoga instructors. I know many people who find that practice extraordinary. It's just not been for me at this point. And yeah, so
Okay.
I like the idea of it, and
Okay.
the yoga. There's so many different yogas, There are yoga practices that have nothing to do with the stretching and the poses. So
It seems that yoga would marry well with your teachings, and it would be a nice combination for someone to explore.
I would bet. I actually am doing a conference this month, and they wanted to, it's 10,000 people in attendees, and they wanted to add yoga, and they were like, can you do a yoga class? And I'm like, no. You don't want me to do a yoga class. It would be very pretty. So, I partnered with someone who is an amazing instructor. So
That sounds good.
core
Hey,
competency.
where you seem like someone who's got some plans, like you know what you're going to do next. So, can you give us an idea of what you are brewing?
Well, I just launched the new website and Mindful Makeovers online, and I want to take this time between now and the end of the year to really embrace that. And my previous mode of operation would be to not enjoy the fruits of my labor, to be moving to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. I'm really enjoying my space and time right now. My son is 11 years old and is just an amazing being. And my life partner, Mark, is just an extraordinary gift in my life. And so we're spending a lot of appreciation time. We're spending a lot of time in gratitude that we are where we are in our lives. And I'm able to spend as much quality time with my son as he is moving into who he is already, right? So I think he came into this world saying, I am going to experience every aspect and everything that I possibly can. And so, he's in soccer, he's in go-kart racing, acting and modeling, and loving life. He's a joy to be with. So that's it on my personal level, and I love to travel and experience life. On the on the and it's funny because I'm saying personal and professional, because the truth is it's all one. But as far as how I spread mindful makeovers and how I spread this information, I'm loving the corporate work that I'm doing. So I'm moving into bringing mindfulness training, a meditation room, to corporations, meetings, functions, conferences, and that I get a lot of joy out of, because I'm able to reach a lot of people. My goal, my mission is to bring mindfulness training globally, and not just mindfulness training, mindful makeovers. And the reason why I'm distinguishing it, because I said earlier, it's like mindfulness on steroids. It goes so far beyond just mindfulness training. There's such gems in there, and so many people are suffering needlessly, like I did, because I just didn't have the information like so packaged so neatly, right? And it's really accessible. So I have some books in me, and I have some other things stirring, and I'm just going to allow them to unfold at the natural pace that they will, and always have products. Oh, the creativity part. If I had 10 of me, actually, I don't want 10 of me. I would like 10 people that are really great implementers, because the designs and the concepts and the creativity just flow. But it takes time to implement all those things. And, the online program, if it weren't for my partner Mark and his beautiful friends and connections, I have to give a shout out to my new dear friend Freeman White, who did the videos, and Jack Shell, who did the music behind the new meditations that are in the Mindful Makeovers program, and also John Kazanjian, he's a beautiful artist, and his visual art is behind a couple of the videos that are on the Mindful Makeovers program. And Didier Siambra, his photographic art is there. If it weren't for just these extraordinary beings that help support this program, it wouldn't have gotten done as quickly as it did. And so I want to take some time and really enjoy that and help people navigate that program. And
that sounds beautiful. That sounds beautiful, Lee. We have had a delightful and mindful time today with mindfulness expert Lee Papa. I invite all of you to visit leepapa.com to learn more about Lee's offerings and her new online Mindful Makeovers training program. Lee, I'm hoping you can share some closing words of wisdom with us.
I think, for me, what I learned in navigating my journey is that I never took care of myself. I always saw that I wanted to take care of everyone else, and actually, until I started to understand what that was all about, it was a way to feed myself by caring for others. I didn't know how to say no. I always thought that I was doing the right thing. And what I learned through my own process and working with people is you need to nourish yourself mindfully and give from the overflow. And when you do that, you realize that going within is an extraordinary journey. Going within is not a selfish act. It's a necessary act for your own healing and expansion, and it is what gives you the foundation to be able to fully give. So nourish yourself mindfully and give from the overflow.
Oh, that was so beautiful, Lee. Thank you so much for joining with us on Spirit of the Dawn. It has been a delightful time together.
Thank you. It really has. Thank you for the opportunity.
Deep breath. Oh, yes, yes. I hope to meet you in person soon. I would really like that.
Good. I'll come your way.
Sounds good. It's absolutely wonderful here. I think you'd enjoy that very much. Deep gratitude to Brian, Zach, and Synergy for the use of their song, Embrace the Change. I invite all of you to visit spiritofthedawn.com for more inspirational interviews. Sending love from my home to yours, I am Pleiadian Emissary of Light, Caroline Roth.